Eddie Murphy tells E.T. that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning.
Many conspiracies came out that Murphy had Shalimar ended because her death just didn't make sense.
I love my wife, and I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
And they went, what? Drag queen goes to bed with Eddie Murphy?
That's right.
He's straight. I went, oh, please. Give me one for
Has she been with Eddie
Murphy? Me?
Yeah. I'm not sorry.
Do you believe Eddie Murphy was going to find a book to read at 4 in the morning with his wife gone out overseas? Man, I mean, just from your experience.
Eddie Murphy, that's bullshit. I'm Eddie Murphy. I watch all this movie, man, but man, you don't accidentally pick up a transvestite, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, the internet is buzzing right now with wild claims that Eddie Murphy might have been linked to the shady death of a trans woman named Shalimar, and leaked footage from 1997 just stirred the pot all over again. This video shows Eddie with Shalimar not long before she reportedly passed under super mysterious circumstances. Back then, Shalimar was a big name in LA's underground scene. Everybody in that world knew who she was. This story's been floating around for years, but now it's coming back loud because new clips just dropped of Eddie and Shalimar together. But wait, there's even more. Old grainy tapes also popped up showing other trans women from that same era, and they're making bold claims that Eddie and a few other big Hollywood names gave them hush money to stay silent.
We got big time celebrities that go around in their cars picking up trans, having with them, and then getting on national TV making fun of them. Our whole world is being run by undercover that run around talking about how straight they are.
But that ain't even the wildest part. There's a whole new theory catching steam online. Some folks are saying there's a deeper pattern going on, like why certain Hollywood stars, including Eddie, seem to have more trans kids than most. Just recently, people found out that Eddie Murphy and Mel B's child, Angel, now lives as a trans man. While some say it's just life doing its thing, others are convinced this might be part of something way bigger. Word on the street is some celebs might agree to their kids' transition in exchange for keeping their own secrets buried, especially when scandals from the past start creeping back up. And with these old tapes, payoffs, and now Angel's story in the mix, people are saying Eddie's past is coming back hard.
Police say he is guilty of no misconduct, but there was a warrant out for the alleged prostitute. A judge has ordered that man, 20-year-old Addison Ciuli, to serve 90 days in jail.
This whole thing's turning way darker than anyone ever expected. So a whole wave of old receipts just dropped. We're talking vintage interviews, old school tabloid headlines, and clips that are making folks seriously side-eye Eddie Murphy all over again. It's all connected to his long-rumored history of picking up trans women, something that's been whispered about in Hollywood for decades. One of the most jaw-dropping pieces to resurface, an interview with the late trans actress Holly Woodlawn. Back in the early 80s, Holly actually sold a tell-all to the National Enquirer about her run-in with Eddie. And get this, the same week the story hit shelves, she sat down for a video interview where she dropped major T. Eddie wasn't having it, and he quickly hit her, and a few others, with a defamation lawsuit. But here's the twist. That lawsuit, it mysteriously vanished, just gone. In that interview, Holly straight up laughed at the idea that Eddie was totally straight, which is what he kept claiming after he got caught picking up another trans woman on Santa Monica Boulevard. And she didn't stop there. She even hinted she had a personal hookup with him at some point.
Oh yeah, after all these years that I just, I'm thinking, and they went, what? Drag queen goes to bed with Eddie Murphy?
Right.
He's straight. I went, oh, please. Give me one for
Wait a minute. What do you think he was doing? What do you think the situation was? Let me hear your scenario.
Oh, not only Eddie Murphy,
many others. I know a lot of girls.
That
I know a lot of girls.
What's the other? Eddie Murphy got arrested with a transvestite type transsexual prostitute. Okay, well, goody. That means she's gonna make some money, and he gets what he deserves.
Good.
That's how.
Good.
Yeah, that made him even a bigger star.
Yeah, and the poor little girl that's like crawling the streets at 4 o'clock in the morning to earn a living,
Like
is
Divine.
What's his name?
Divine Brown.
Divine Brown. She made a lot of money.
Yeah.
He should go right to all of the
So you
papers.
could get the same thing. You could be the same kind of thing.
But I don't want that.
But
I
you
don't
wanna.
need it. I don't need
She doesn't need the money.
Hollywood Lawn is
She doesn't need the money.
The dirt moves. She's been to bed with Eddie Murphy, and who else has she been to bed with?
In bed with
Has he been with Eddie?
Murphy? Me?
Yeah. I'm not
Now,
sorry.
be honest, Hollywood Lawn. Now, be
My
honest
lips
with
are
me. Look
sick.
at me, girl. Look at me careful. Now, did you been to bed with some of these stars in Hollywood now? You know
She
you
in
have.
Marlena.
I have been
She has
there
too.
been a lot of sleazy
Like
things.
sleazy. But,
That part had people shook. Then Holly mentioned a certain trans street worker who got picked up by Eddie around 4 a.m. And she was talking about none other than Shalimar. And now, boom, an old school paparazzi video has surfaced showing Eddie actually getting pulled over by cops with a young trans adult named Shalimar sitting right next to him in the passenger seat. So here's the backstory. Shalimar was a Samoan-born trans woman who earned the title Miss Island Queen back in 1993. She later moved to LA chasing her dream of becoming a fashion designer, but when that plan fell through, she ended up working the streets around Santa Monica Boulevard. After a while, she became so known in that scene that LAPD officers reportedly recognized her by name. This resurfaced footage just added gasoline to the fire. So here's where things get real messy. On May 2nd, 1997, police were already watching Shalimar. They had eyes on her. Then boom, she hops into Eddie Murphy's SUV, and within minutes, the cops pull him over. They grilled Eddie for about 30 minutes, and guess what he told them? That he was just giving her a ride home. He also claimed he had no idea Shalimar was biologically male. Eddie didn't catch any charges, but Shalimar wasn't so lucky. She got arrested on an outstanding warrant.
Comedian Eddie Murphy has a run-in with the law this morning. In this case, it involves a transvestite prostitute. Reporter Juan Fernandez is live in Hollywood, California with the latest for us tonight. Juan?
Well, Al, when Eddie Murphy picked up this Hollywood hooker, he had no idea that right behind him were a pair of Vice cops.
Deputies conducted a traffic stop of the car a few blocks away, at which time they learned that the driver was actor Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy was let go. Police say up to that point, nothing illegal had happened. But 20-year-old Addison Ciuli was cuffed and hauled away. A warrant was already out for his arrest.
And on May 29th, Judge Barry Taylor issued a warrant in the amount of $15,000 for his arrest and revoked his probation. He was brought to court today on that warrant.
And once news broke that she had been riding with Eddie, the story exploded. It went nationwide fast, with cameras flashing and media chasing her down from jail to court. Paparazzi were swarming her like she was a Hollywood celeb herself. Meanwhile, Eddie hit panic mode and flipped into full-on damage control. He hit the press with that signature smile, playing the hero role, saying he's just a kind guy trying to help someone get home. He swore up and down he was only doing a good deed.
Eddie Murphy says he did nothing wrong. He says he saw this person on the sidewalk looking rather restless. And all he did, he says, was offer them a ride.
Murphy says he has often stopped to try to help prostitutes, but here is what he said in an impromptu news conference on the set of his new movie.
Being a good Samaritan blew up in my face, basically, what happened. And I'm never giving anyone a lift again.
But then his story got even crazier. After things went public, Eddie sat down for an interview with Ed McMahon and dropped a straight-up head-scratcher. He claimed the reason he was out at 4 a.m. was because he was looking for a book to read. No joke. He said he was out cruising the Hollywood Strip before sunrise in search of some reading material. To add to the weird timing, Eddie's wife at the time, Nicole Mitchell, was out of the country. So Eddie said he just felt like going for a late-night drive to find a book.
I love my wife, and I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Eddie Murphy tells ET that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning. He says he thought he was aiding a distraught woman.
Looks like a pretty Hawaiian girl in the corner crying. It looks like she was crying. She goes, "Oh, Eddie Murphy." She noticed him at the light. She recognized Eddie Murphy. Oh my God. So I go, "What are you doing? Why are you out here working the streets so late?" She goes, "Oh, I'm on my way home. Can you give me a ride home?"
Now that part had people shaking their heads. Like, who really believes that? Back then, Eddie's story already sounded like total nonsense. And now, with all these new clips and witness interviews popping up, it's sounding even wilder. Like, seriously, who's buying the idea that he was just out at 4 a.m. looking for a book? Even folks from that scene are calling it out. Recently, a well-known pimp named Ken went on Real Life Productions and didn't hold back. He said flat out, Eddie knows full well nobody ever believed that book story.
A clip of Eddie Murphy right now is going viral of him back in the 90s talking about how his wife and kids left the house. He woke up at 4 in the morning and wanted to go find a book to read and end up picking up a transvestite. And he felt sorry for the transvestite, so he wanted to give the transvestite a ride home because the transvestite was crying, on a wall. He told that story to the media and they clapped, and this is going viral right now. Do you believe Eddie Murphy was going to find a book to read at 4 in the morning with his wife gone out overseas? Man, I mean, just from your experience.
Eddie Murphy, that's bullshit. I'm Eddie Murphy. I watch all this movie, man, but man, you don't accidentally pick up a transvestite. You know what I'm saying? That ain't happening, man. You know what I'm saying? It did, first of all, man, you know what I'm saying?
Right around?
You know what I'm saying? All the money he got, man, why would you be on the strip picking up a transvestite, whatever you call it? You know what I'm saying? I don't believe it. I think it's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Murphy, but to me, that's some straight bullshit. Man, listen, man, you know what I'm saying? If I pick up, if I see a man, he dressed like a woman, and I see him, I'm not gonna feel sorry for him because
he was trying to be a good Samaritan.
But suppose he could be a robber. He might not be a real transvestite. I mean, he could be setting you up. A lot of dudes dress like women and they put makeup on and all that stuff, and they robbing these tricks out here.
And yeah, that part had people laughing until things took a dark turn. Almost exactly 1 year after that infamous night with Eddie, tragedy struck. On the morning of April 22nd, 1998, a dog walker found Shalimar Suley's body lying lifeless on the sidewalk outside her Koreatown apartment in Los Angeles. It was chilling. Cops said she fell from the 5th floor and died from blunt head trauma. The autopsy showed no alcohol or drugs in her system, so they ruled it an accident. But here's where it gets real suspicious. The coroner's report included a note saying that a neighbor heard a loud scream around 5 a.m., right around the time she died. That single detail had a bunch of people questioning everything. Like, was it really just a fall, or did someone push her? Shalimar's friends and loved ones didn't buy the accident narrative at all. One close friend, a drag performer named Viva, told the Village Voice that law enforcement didn't seem interested in getting to the truth. Viva said, unfortunately, the cops don't want to investigate. To them, she didn't matter. It's heartbreaking. And now people are looking at this whole case in a completely different light. They just saw her as another hooker. That's how Viva, Shalimar's close friend, that's put it. She was furious at how easily everyone accepted the idea that Shalimar just fell. Viva insisted there was no way it was an accident, and she begged the question, why didn't the cops dig deeper? But things get even creepier. A bunch of women who worked alongside Shalimar on Santa Monica Boulevard said that after her run-in with Eddie Murphy, she started getting threats. Random strangers would show up warning her to keep her mouth shut, like someone was trying to scare her into silence. Her brother David also spoke to the Globe and revealed just how bad things had gotten. He said Shalimar became super paranoid, always looking over her shoulder. Just hearing Eddie Murphy's name would send her into full panic mode. She even started moving around from place to place, hoping she could shake whatever or whoever was following her. And it wasn't just fear. There were whispers Shalimar was planning to blow the lid off a massive Hollywood secret. Word on the street was she was getting ready to sell her story, not just about Eddie, but about a whole group of powerful men in the industry who were known for picking up trans women on the low. Shalimar had already talked to the National Enquirer while she was locked up, and that payout, it went straight toward posting her bail. In that interview, she straight up called Eddie's ride home story a lie, saying he definitely had other intentions. She even pointed out that the area where he picked her up was a well-known trans worker hotspot. Like, there was no way he didn't know. Shalimar told the Enquirer, "It's unfair. I went to jail while Eddie Murphy walked away spot-free," and that hit hard. But this wasn't where it ended, not even close. After her story went public, dozens of other trans women began coming forward, claiming they also had encounters with Eddie Murphy, and their stories were way too similar to ignore. So when the heat started closing in, Eddie clapped back hard, hitting the Globe, National Enquirer, and even the New York Times with million-dollar lawsuits. He claimed they were spreading lies and twisting stories about him. But here's where it gets sketchy. Every single one of those lawsuits got quietly dropped or settled behind closed doors. No trials, no headlines, just silence, and the timing, brutal. Eddie's career was already in a slump from back-to-back flops, and he was desperate for a comeback. The last thing he needed was his name getting dragged through more scandals. Some tabloid lawyers later suggested that Eddie dropped the lawsuits on purpose, because if things went to court, even more women might have stepped up with their own receipts. But Eddie didn't stop with the legal stuff. He went all in, hiring top-tier Hollywood lawyer Marty Singer, and even bringing in fixer private investigator Paul Baresi to clean things up behind the scenes. Their mission: track down every trans woman who had ever spoken out and make it all go away. Baresi reportedly found several of these women and convinced them to sign affidavits and record videos claiming their original stories weren't true. But investigative journalist Mark Ebner wasn't buying it. He said one of the women actually showed him IRS paperwork proving she was paid $15,000 directly from Marty Singer's firm just to take her story back about hooking up with Eddie.
First of all, how I met my first transgendered person who had claimed she had been with Eddie Murphy in the past was I literally went to a bar that was, I can't remember the name of it, it was on Yucca, just south of Hollywood Boulevard, by that newsstand, the World News, where Eddie had stopped that night.
Yes.
And I sat at the bar. One night goes by, I'm friends with the bartender now. I'm tipping him well. I'm talking to him, and he finally got me to one of the women, and she said, "Oh yeah, I've been with Eddie. He likes, he has a foot fetish, and also Carnal Candy has been with him, and so and so and so and so." I went and I said, "So what's the deal?" And she said, "Well, the deal is that Eddie Murphy's lawyer, Marty Singer, who's in the news these days for other things, basically I told my story to the tabloids, and he paid me $15,000 to change my story." And I said, "Well, interesting. Okay, can you prove that?" This woman kept records, and she handed me a check and her IRS, everything. She had everything, and it was signed by Marty Singer.
For years, Eddie and his team worked overtime to scrub this story from the public. His PR crew pulled interviews, deleted footage, and tried to erase any trace of the scandal. They were relentless. But the truth? It keeps resurfacing. One of the most jaw-dropping receipts making rounds again is an old interview with the late Octavia St. Laurent, a legendary trans figure, where she boldly called out Hollywood. She said it straight: the industry is full of down-low men who publicly bash LGBTQ+ folks while secretly hiding their real preferences.
Our whole world is being run by undercover that run around talking about how straight they are. People are so busy wasting their time bashing when they can be doing something a lot more positive. These are the people you have to worry about.
Now that clip has people talking all over again. Even though Octavia Street Laurent didn't name drop Eddie Murphy directly, it was crystal clear who she was calling out. She made direct references to the whole Shalimar situation and mentioned Eddie's movie Boomerang.
Got big-time celebrities that go around in their cars picking up trans, having sex with them, and then getting on national TV making fun of them. Everything you do in life is like a boomerang. When you throw it, it eventually comes back.
The same film where he throws shade at trans women through jokes. The message was loud, even without the name. Octavia was known for keeping it 100. She always spoke out about how Hollywood men would secretly hook up with gay men and trans women, paying for their services behind closed doors, but then step out in public acting like they're anti-LGBTQ+. She hated how those same men would talk down on the community while doing the most to keep their image clean. She also dropped some hard truth about how these down low guys often hide behind their playboy personas, having babies with different women to make it look like they're the ultimate ladies' man. Then, behind the scenes, they're wrestling with shame, frustration, and sometimes taking it out on the women they date. She even pointed to Diddy as an example. And when it comes to Eddie, that exact pattern showed up loud and clear. Right after the drama with Shalimar hit the headlines, Eddie flipped the script and suddenly became Mr. Bachelor. He started getting spotted with one woman after another. Date nights, red carpets, all of it. Now the man's got 10 kids with 5 different women. That's a whole starting lineup and a bench. But here's where things take a wild twist. It just came out that Eddie's 18-year-old child, Angel, with Spice Girl Mel B, now identifies as a trans man. Angel recently changed his Instagram bio and made it clear he wants to be referred to with he/him pronouns. And that reveal had people online digging back into an old Hollywood rumor, the one that claims certain celebs make behind-the-scenes deals to raise at least one of their kids as trans, either to deflect, protect secrets, or control a certain public narrative. Now, folks are asking, could there really be something bigger going on here? Now, some folks write this all off as just another wild conspiracy, but others are convinced there's something deeper going on. They've been pointing out how way more celebrities seem to have trans kids compared to the general public. Even comedian Cat Williams spoke on it recently. He said he called it years ago, claiming this exact trend would hit Hollywood hard. But Cat didn't stop there. He also dropped some heavy hints that there might be a ritualistic element behind it, maybe even something darker, like ties to secret power moves or so-called protection deals that go way beyond what the public sees.
That's how you understand what a ritual is. So 20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things will become popular in the future.
Now, whether you believe that or not, the timeline's looking real strange. From Eddie Murphy's scandal with Shalimar to the mysterious way she died just a year later, and now the sudden reveal that his daughter Angel is living as a trans man, people are definitely starting to see Eddie in a whole new light. So let's talk about it. Do you think Shalimar's death was just a tragic fall, or was someone trying to keep her quiet before she could expose more names? And what's your take on this Hollywood theory? Could there really be secret deals where celebs agree to raise at least one of their kids as trans? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. This story's far from over, and trust, you're going to want to be here for the next chapter. See you on the next one.